JBS, today we welcome you to our show with New Jersey legend, Ridge High legend Greg Bozzo, the world according to Bozz, the catcher who was so good that he had to be recruited twice, basically. And we welcome Greg to the show today. Thank you, Greg. Redshirt freshman at Northeastern University, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Mike. This will be fun. I'm excited.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Greg, let's just start out with the most important question. Anybody who knows you knows you're probably the most energetic human on earth. How do we do it? How do we do it every day? Is it like a coffee, like kind of IV that's in your veins at night? I mean, how do we have so much energy all the time? And just where did that come from?
Definitely came from my mom. She's wired at all hours. Like, I mean, not in the morning actually, but I got a good mix because my dad's a morning person. So yeah, no, it came from my mom. And then honestly, it's just I'm like a little kid. Like I'm playing the game I love. You know what I mean? I get to wake up, as stereotypical and I guess mature as it sounds. I get to wake up and do what I want to do every day, not what I have to do. It's awesome.
Absolutely. No, and anybody who's known you has known that leadership has always been an important thing for you. Whether it was at Ridge High, whether it's just taking any pitcher, any pitching staff kind of under your control. Again, when did that kind of emerge in your obviously you're not a year old, 2 years old thinking I want to be a leader. What did that become important to you in your kind of playing career?
Yeah, I'd say that became most important to me when I was playing with the Diamondjacks. I played for the Diamondjacks for 6 years. And I know you had Mark Gialucci on here and he mentioned Travis Anderson. And Travis Anderson is an old school guy, old school catching guy who teaches you really how to be a leader and teaches you what the catching position means on the field, what he thinks it means and what I now think it means, which is being that rock. You have so many touches of the ball. And this is something Tom Brady said. I'm watching his Man in the Arena documentary. You have so many touches of the ball that it's unfair not to hold yourself accountable for the team when you make mistakes and when you lose games. Because like I said, you're affecting the game so much. And that mindset that Travis instilled, that I obviously improvised and sort of developed, that is what really has just made me into the leader I am today.
Yeah, it's true because it's always been the one position where, look, everybody wants to get a hit every time they're up, and it's also unrealistic, but it's always been the one position that I've been willing to sacrifice some amount of hitting if in turn it was somebody who could, you're the one guy you're the one guy that's facing in the other direction every pitch. You're the one guy who's looking out into the field every pitch, and if we could sacrifice some, I didn't care what hitting got sacrificed if we were getting that back times 10 in leadership. I mean, it's the one, it literally is the captain of the team on the field. You're watching everything.
Yeah. And you're working with so many guys too. I mean, you think of the pitching staff, especially in college and as you get into the pros, even in high school, I mean, there's so many pitchers and pitchers don't always have their heads screwed on straight. So, well, like me, I mean, I can't say much, but yeah, you're working with those guys every single day. And it's so cool to go through the process with them.
And I always thought pitchers were they're such perfectionists too. I mean, you literally have to be to control your body to throw that repetition and put the ball where you want to. It's almost, but the downside is when you're that much of a perfectionist, it's kind of easy to get caught up in the details and sometimes lose sight of, the big picture, and catchers kind of got to be able to smack them back into reality from time to time.
Yeah, no, that's a huge part of it. Yeah. I mean, you just got to worry about executing every pitch to pitch. If you don't execute the last one, execute the next one. You know what I mean?
Yep. So let's hit everybody with kind of your backstory to get to Northeastern, because that in itself is an interesting thing. You go through your your career at Ridge, your time with the D-Jacks, and you're committed to LaSalle, and Coach Miller has an up and coming program and a ton of young talent, and you were a big part of that. And probably, I guess, literally less, then you're going through COVID. So your fall season sort of canceled, and kind of whatever we kind of did on the fly at the Sandlot anyways, the only way you guys get on the field.
Yeah.
But, less than a month really into your college life, you find out what?
Late September, we're at home. LaSalle didn't let the students come back. Actually, we didn't know at the time, but basketball was there. They kind of snuck them on campus. But yeah, no, at the end of September, we got called on a Zoom. Literally, our coaches texted us half an hour before the Zoom call. They were like, listen, we didn't know about this. We just found out. Just hop on a Zoom in 30 minutes and you'll find out what we're talking about. And we get on the Zoom call, and it's the athletic director and every single student athlete at LaSalle. And they announced, not only baseball, man, they announced the dropping of 7 programs, 7 Division I athletic programs. That's crazy to me. So yeah, that was the news.
So what does that do? Mentally, you're not in school, first of all. Like you said, you're at home. You're kind of apart from everybody anyway. You kind of see them on the weekends, some of the guys every once in a while, or whatever workouts you're able to put together on the side. So you never really started LaSalle, kind of in a way. And all of a sudden, you've got to go through that same crazy recruiting process again, right? Because you catch, you're a baseball player, you're Gregory .catcher at whatever your email is. It's part of what you are. So you're not going to stay at a school before your career even starts.
Yeah.
So no, what's going through your mind mentally at that point, and how do we get the recruiting process restarted?
Well, there was a lot going on mentally. Now it's looking back, it's like different than, obviously very different, and I'm blessed now, but looking back, there was a lot of those were some dark times, everyone has them. And I was coming off of not even playing my senior year, where I think we were preseason ranked in the state. Obviously, we had a lot of guys receiving preseason accolades. We were supposed to be really, really good that year and really make some noise. Shout out Connor Byrne. They just won the state championship and followed up our legacy. I love those guys.
I'm
happy they got it. They got the sectional championship. So I was very happy for them. I went to one of those games.
Yeah.
So that's good for them. But yeah, no. So coming off of that, I lost the COVID season. The whole team we lost our season. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to get to LaSalle. I'll finally get to play again. You know what I mean? I'll finally be a part of a team again. And when you hear this news, it's like, am I ever playing baseball again? It's crazy. But honestly, with that said, as soon as I got off the Zoom call, there had been some talks of maybe they were dropping our program, and it was sort of a joke. But as soon as our coaches told us to get on a Zoom call in half an hour, I assumed the worst. And I guess you're not supposed to do that, but I did, and I was right. So I think that helped me. And as soon as I get off that phone call, obviously, my mom was right there. She just started crying. We called my dad. He was at work. I've never seen that guy cry. And he was it was crazy. So, yeah. So and then I called my previous coaches, my Diamondjack coaches, my recruiting coach, some of my catching coaches. Ani Ramos, I know Mark mentioned, he's an amazing person. And JT Kroger has helped me so much. He's the man. Called those guys and told them, and basically they sort of were that initial, all right, let's go. They sort of gave that to me too. They were like, all right, well, no looking back. Let's look forward and see what your options are. So they immediately started calling coaches, emailing scouts, whatever they could do to help me find a new home. And obviously it worked because I'm blessed. Yeah, I'm at Northeastern, and it's amazing.
Yeah, let's Northeastern University, you end up at one of the best mid-major, non P5, but kind of that second kind of thought of level as far as conferences, but one of the best programs in the country. NCAA team last year, you go through a 20-game winning streak during the season. Just an insane year. You go to now you're handling pens with two guys. I'll let you talk about them. Two guys who are probably going to go in the top 5 rounds at least of the next draft. It's crazy, right? From like the lowest of the lows, that if you kind of stick to your plan and have good people pushing you, lifting you up, that amazing things can happen. So tell us about how much we love Boston and how much we love Northeastern University.
Yeah, no, those are my, oh my gosh, that's my family, man. I mean, they were so accepting of me right away. Obviously, coming out, transferred in the mid-year. So coming in, obviously the new kid, tried to just stay quiet, keep my head down, but that's just not my personality. So it didn't really work out too well.
Stay quiet and keep your head down. It's so much Greg.
Yeah. So I guess that plan kind of fell through, but no, they accepted me like for my high energy, for who I was, which was amazing. And yeah, just to talk about just Cam and Seb and shout them out real quick. I mean, I could shout out all the guys, but Seb, he's so polished as a pitcher and you can see it. I always tell him he looks like DeGrom. He loves when I tell him that. And no, I think his mechanics really do though. And he's just been working so hard on all 4 of his pitches, being able to throw all of them for strikes, command all of them whenever he wants. And he obviously had a great year last year, looking to improve even more on that this year. And then you got Cam Schlittler, who had a 1.6, I think, ERA it was in the ones last year, and just like burst out on the scene. You know what I mean? Not like a huge, he was obviously a very big recruit, but not like, didn't have like this like huge name brand around him. And he just came in, worked hard. He's one of the biggest competitors that you'll ever meet. And he had that ERA in the ones last year, and he didn't even throw his best pitch. He didn't even throw his changeup. So this year, I don't even want to imagine, especially in live ABs when he's facing me, what that'll look like. And no, and I want to shout him out just by saying the last thing, he just got a first team preseason All-American from Perfect Game accolade. And I could not be more happy for him. He worked so hard. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, last year's experiences, you think team-wise, I mean, getting to the NCAA tournament, playing a couple of tough games, but certainly being able to grow off of that. Has that shown as far as, look, let's take that up. Let's take last year up another level now. And I mean, you see teams like Fairfield kind of right around the corner from you guys, carrying the banner for the smaller conferences, and being a game away from super regionals, and knowing that's if things go the right way, that's easily going to be you guys this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't say easily. I definitely wouldn't say easily, but
I would say you could certainly see that happening. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think the biggest thing for us, coach stressed that a lot. So we made a regional in 2019, Northeastern did, before I got there. And the next year they had a not so great season. So in our opening meeting, literally that was probably the biggest point addressed, that this will not happen again. And everyone kind of owned up to it, the coaches, the players. And I mean, it's not one person's fault. So but coach made it a huge point to say, listen, we do things a little different around here now. Okay. And this fall is going to be the hardest fall that any of you have ever experienced. And the coaches did an amazing job in challenging us, making us better, making us compete. And we needed to develop leadership because we lost so much last year. We lost a lot of fifth-year guys came back. We were a very veteran roster last year. And obviously with the upperclassmen that got drafted and the upperclassmen that ended up leaving, we reloaded for sure. We're still young though. And again, I think the coaches and us as players, I got to give us some credit. We did a great job this fall of figuring out our leadership. And that's still developing, and that will still continue to develop, especially when games start. But like I said, that's a huge piece. And obviously chemistry is a huge piece. We had a meeting with we had a team in the College World Series. I think it was 1966. And those guys came on and they basically just talked about chemistry, and they told us stories the whole time, like about the stuff they would do together. So I think that is between the leadership that we'll be able to develop and the reload pieces that we have. I think you're right. I think that is an attainable goal for us, and honestly is our goal. Is a super regional.
Yeah, and it's interesting you brought it up, because so often in baseball we talk about how do you handle failure, right? How are you able to bounce back? But I think sort of just as important, because it gets lost a lot, is how do you handle success, right? I mean, like, does that blow your mind in the other direction and you can't follow up on it? Because that's got to be, being the hunted is a big thing too.
Yeah, I think it's all about embracing that. Like when we show up to the ballpark now, we have a confident swagger. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, we know we're like, well, we really believe we'll win. Like the expectation, we won 20 games straight. So the expectation is we're winning this game. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who we're really playing, but it's not it's nothing arrogant. It's just more like, I don't think they're too happy that they got to be playing us right now. So let's go out and do our jobs and compete and have that mindset, and let's just go steamroll them.
Definitely. So random question for you.
Yeah.
If baseball were out of the picture, what would Greg Bozzo be doing? Because I always see you as like wired for this game. Like it's like you said, you're a little kid every day, and you get the chance to do what you love. So what would happen if that wasn't in the picture?
I'd be working, man. I'd be probably working with my dad. I would definitely. He's a contractor, general contractor, and I kind of like that stuff. I've always been into like woodworking and all that stuff. So I'd honestly probably be at work with my dad, but I'd probably have the same exact energy, the same personality.
Mm-hmm.
Bring that to the workplace,
That's right. Now, so I guess you're the guy that people want to, if they're stranded, if something happens, they need kind of like MacGyver skills back in the old days. That's you, Mr. Resourceful.
I don't know about that. Don't put that, but yeah, I guess I'm pretty resourceful.
Excellent. So you love it up in Boston, obviously. I mean, we saw your day in the life. We certainly, that obviously a great place. What's the one thing that you miss that you don't get up there from kind of the Central Jersey area, that when you get home is kind of like the first thing you go to?
I feel like you want me to say Taylor ham, egg, and cheese, or pork roll, egg, and cheese. Is that why you're asking this question?
It isn't, but I mean, I always ask because it's either that or people will say pizza a lot. No, I just think it's good. It's good that you're a real New Jerseyan, that would be where you go. So that's you always have that. That's important.
Yeah, no, I honestly think that would be the answer too, though. I love Taylor ham, egg, and cheese.
Where's your go-to for it up in the Ridge area?
In the Ridge area, Brush's Deli, right in the center of town. The best.
So now we got to call them and get them to sponsor this, obviously.
We'll do it.
NIL rights from Brush's Deli. Is that what we're looking for?
I'm sure they'd put something together for us, a little package.
I think so. For you. I don't know they would for me.
Mike, you're the man.
So think back to your pre-college career, or even, the first year. Proudest moment on the field.
Proudest moment on the field. Getting us, it was the Last Dance tournament. And that was like the tournament ran in New Jersey since all the spring season got canceled with COVID. The Last Dance tournament, we're playing St. Peter's Prep. This is when I was still committed to LaSalle too. That's important later in the story. St. Peter's Prep at Caven Point. I don't know if you're familiar with Caven Point, but it is one of the largest fields in New Jersey. Like, it is a football field, literally a football field in the outfield. And I think left field's like 350 or something like that. And then there's a big field house in left field over the fence. So that tournament was huge for us, obviously, because I told you we had such large expectations and we
Yeah.
put on ourselves for that year. And so that's the quarterfinals, and we're down 6-2. And I think it was the 6th inning. And we load the bases. Or no, I'm sorry. We get 2 men on, and I come up to the plate and I hit the furthest ball I've ever hit in my life on the first pitch I saw to left field. I hit a ball onto the roof of the field house in left field over the fence. And it was one of the craziest moments. As soon as I hit it, I knew, and I just went wild around the bases. Like I almost got thrown out of the game. Let's just because I was just going crazy. And later I found out, it was just ironic that I was still committed to Salle at that time. There was actually a Northeastern commit on St. Peter's. Hopefully I said St. Peter's. We were playing St. Peter's.
Yep.
And yeah, so there was a Northeastern commit. And when I got to Northeastern, he was like, dude, you're the kid that hit the ball on top of the roof. He was like, I've been playing there since I was 5 years old, and I've never seen anybody hit a home run at that field. So that was just like a crazy moment. We ended up losing the game, but that was for a personal moment. That was crazy. The best team moment was definitely when we just shelled Bridgewater my junior year in the state semifinals. We beat them like 13-1. It was awesome.
That's all that is. That's crazy, and that's kind of gives you that instant credibility at Northeastern too, right? It's hitting.
No, that's something you got to earn credibility every day. And yeah.
So you've always, to you, the leadership we said was important, also kind of working with and helping younger guys. What's one message that you would give to, guys who are just kind of starting the real hard part of the journey, the high school years? Because I feel like if you're, the guys who are really good are probably dominating on the little field, but if you get into the point where you're in 9th, 10th grade, what's kind of the Greg Bozzo piece of advice that we'd want to give out?
Yeah, that's a good question. What would I tell my 9th or 10th grade self? I would tell myself to work hard, because I love working now, and I know how big of a piece that is. But like freshman, sophomore year of high school, I definitely could have worked harder. And I'm not a big what if guy, but like looking back, there's the obvious question, like, what if I put the time in that I do now, even freshman year? I mean, I started working like freshman year. I started working like pretty hard sophomore year, and then that just has scaled up. But freshman year, like what if I just came in with that killer mentality already, and that's hard as a young kid. But if it's what you want, and that's a big thing, you sort of have to realize what you want too. Like if baseball is something you really love and if it's in your life and it's in your family, like there's a good chance you'll want to stick with it. So I would say just work hard, man. I mean, it's just the little things too, like extra stretching, extra throwing, extra, like while you're watching a movie, like you just practice your, like it's just the little things that really add up. And it's crazy when they finally do, and you see what it culminates into, and then it'll all be worth it. It's all worth it. Yeah. Work hard, and because it'll all be worth it. That's what I would say.
We've seen you on the BPC footage a little bit lately down in very South Jersey. We know that's not, our sense of geography says that's not close to Ridge at all, to Ridge. Obviously it's a pretty neat environment, and I know you love it down there. How did you get connected with starting to go making the long ride?
Yeah. So I don't know if you know Drew Conover.
Mm-hmm. Seton Hall.
Yeah. Seton Hall guy. So I played with him Diamondjacks for 6 years, longer than that, probably 7 years or something, because he was there. He's been there longer than 6 years. He was there since he was like 10. So No, but we just created a great relationship over Diamondjacks, and I texted him because I knew I wanted to catch some. I've been working on some things defensively, and I wanted to catch some really good guys this break. And Drew,
No better place.
yeah, well, what better guy? Drew, I couldn't speak more highly of him, man. Give him a shout out real quick. He's throwing 95-mile-an-hour sinkers.
Emerging stud this year for Seton Hall for sure.
Yeah, he'll tear it up. I mean, he's a beast, man. But yeah, so I got connected with him. He's like, yeah, I'm throwing a BPC. Come down. And I went down, and the first day I went down, I think I caught 8 pens. So it's a barn. It's an actual barn of just pro, college, and the best high school talent you'll find in New Jersey or in the area. I mean, actually, one kid flew in from California and got an apartment over there for like, I think it was like 2 months, just because he wanted to train there. I mean, the place is doing something right. I mean, it's awesome. So that's how I got connected through Drew. And then now I've created an amazing relationship with the owner just because of my energy during bullpens.
Who, Mike, are we talking about here or Ed?
Yeah, okay. Mike, and well, and Cheeks. And but I've just created this crazy good relationship with them where like they want me to catch their pens and stuff. So he texts me and I'm going down there. It gets to be a lot, but it's worth it. I mean, you go down there, you get your work in, and they're amazing people. It's all about the player.
Agreed. Last question for you.
Yeah.
Take away baseball. It's another one of those questions. What's your favorite part about Northeastern?
While it was the hardest thing to adjust to, it is my favorite now, the diversity of Northeastern and how many different connections and networking opportunities there are. I mean, you see people, I honestly, it feels like I'm the minority in my classes just because of how many foreign students, just students from all over the place that we attract. And a lot of that's due to the co-op program, which is, I can explain real quick. You want me to explain that real quick?
Yeah, sure.
The co-op program is it's basically you work instead of going to school for a semester. Mm-hmm. So that's why a lot of people graduate in 5 years.
Yep.
Where you have to take summer classes, but most people just do a 5 years because they have a 5-year master's too. But you basically just work a job, and it's set up by Northeastern and the connections. So like I said, again, the connections, the networking, that's awesome. And no, for sure. Yeah. So the diversity, man, that's what I would say. Cause you get to meet all these new people and they're so cool. It's just great environment.
Absolutely. Greg Bozzo, our guest today, Jersey Baseball Show. We are ready to get you back off to school and start to dominate the CAA again this year. And let's see how we do with Northeastern. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you again, Mike. This was great, man.